Everybody, welcome to Storm Talk. Way through News Meteorologist Brian Good here. I know a lot of you are ready to go straight into the system for Monday. I'll get to that, I promise. But we got a few things I do want to cover in the short term. First off, look at our season total: 11.4 inches of snow. We're about an inch away from matching what we normally would have for an entire winter season. So chances are, by the looks of things, we're going to go above normal for this year. How far above? Good question. We're already above normal to date, and we're certainly ahead of last year, although, again, keep in mind, we had a big snow Valentine's last year, so we're going to see that number change. Now, the monitoring board, yes, we have a chance for a couple of clippers to somewhat impact the area, but I'm going to take them off the board. I think it's mainly going to be a focus here for the 15th and 16th. If I had to add another date on here, it would actually be the last week of February, but I'll hold off on that because I will say in between the two, between the 15th and 16th and the end of February, pretty significant warm-up is coming. So with all those details, I don't want to put anything on the board other than what we got coming our way. And speaking of that system, just to give you an idea of what we're dealing with, this is the piece right here that will lead to Monday's event, Sunday night into Monday. It's going to get thrown around, wrapped around, and then pulled into Seattle, and then it'll drop down after that. The question is, does it dig or does it just roll out to sea? And that's what we'll figure out. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But you see how far away it is, and obviously it hasn't been sampled, so we're going to see some adjustments coming on that side of things. We'll discuss that in a moment. First off, this afternoon, we've got some sunshine breaking through the clouds. Nice to see that. Most of the snow machine now has begun to shut off, so things are looking better and better for the afternoon, except for the temperature. It is 21 at the moment, 20 at Fort Knox and 19 in E-Town. Ouch. You factor in the wind, it feels like 11 outside, 10 at Fort Knox, and 5 and 3 right now as you head into Seymour and North Vernon. And look at Lexington, Kentucky at 2 is what it feels like. As we into the nighttime hours tonight, we do have this first clipper that is still forecast to go to our southwest. It is still forecast to get 8 alive with the dry air we have, but I still think there's going to be at least flurries or at least a brief snow shower in our southern counties. I don't think it'll affect Louisville at this time, but where there's going to be a sharp cutoff from the cloud cover to a clear sky. Areas that have clear skies and snow on the ground, you're going to be the coldest, close to 10 above. Meanwhile, maybe some 20s here to the southwest because of the cloud deck. But again, not a big deal for that clipper. Sunshine tomorrow, topping out around 30 or close to it. And then we've got the Friday clipper, but the problem is this one's going to have a little bit of a warm air surge ahead of it, even some 40s to the south, which may allow for a little bit of a rain-snow mix on the southern edge of this. But this looks to be a wet snow, and a lot of it probably wouldn't even accumulate. So at this point, the Friday clipper does not look to be a big deal. So let's move along, shall we? Let's get into this Sunday-Monday deal. Again, here's that piece of energy. Looking at the wind fields, you'll see it rotate around. At this point is when it gets sampled. So the first sampling is probably going to be the 12Z runs on Saturday. That's awful close to the event, I know, but that is the first time we will get a full sampling of the main piece of energy. So between now and Saturday, it's pure model speculation that we are talking about, which is a challenge. It then drops down and then forms, this is the Uriel, by the way, forms the low pressure and then begins to pull it up the eastern seaboard from there. All right, so let me start with the GFS and take you back. This was the model run at this time yesterday. It showed basically an open wave. You don't really see much of a surface low reflection indicated here. So an open wave rolls on out. Here's the run from last night. Very similar. Open wave, period of accumulating snow, a couple inches or something, coming on by. And then here's today's run, but here's the one thing that looks different about it. Yes, it still looks like an open wave, but there is now a surface reflection beginning to show up. So I think the GFS is starting to get into the idea that there could be a low developing in Arkansas, and that could slow this entire thing down. So it'll be interesting to see what the GFS does in the coming days based on its trend of picking up on the little small details. GFS struggles with that until the very last minute. And the main reason why is the ridging, again, off the eastern seaboard here. Not much to really allow this to slow down, and it keeps it progressive. We need more of a ridge here to develop here across the eastern portion of the United States and the Atlantic to slow the system down, the piece of energy down, allows it to dig and deepen, becomes a bigger system, and then rolls up the coast. So that is the GFS. Here are the ensembles of the GFS, and here's something else that's interesting. Look how many of the ensembles, and these are hard to see, that have a decent snow event, if not a snowstorm, in our area. There are quite a few that I am picking out here as I scroll along that show a decent accumulating snow very close to our area on the ensembles. So the ensembles are looking a little different even than with the operational GFS. So it's another sign that the GFS is going through some struggles on how this is going to progress. Now let's get to the Euro. This is the Euro yesterday at this time. Again, a weak surface reflection here across Louisiana. Still was trying to get an idea of what was going on. Then last night, it was developing more of a surface reflection, getting more of a low pressure developing, and therefore you get warmer air ahead of it. That's the natural fact of developing lows that get deeper. You're going to have a stronger south flow. It is the curse of wave country when it comes to southern low pressures. You get too much warm air, you're going to switch this over to a mix or rain, and you have a much more of a difficult delineation determining where that is and versus the snow line will be. That's the fact we face with it. And then here's today's run. Actually, sorry, me skip ahead. It is today's run. That comes in, and it does show the surface reflection. It'll go a little more prominent in a minute. That's why it looked weird. But it shows more precipitation in our area. But look what happens by Monday afternoon. There's the low, 1,008, right over portions of the Mississippi and Alabama border. But the blue line is the typical rain-snow line aloft. And it is right over Louisville. This should not shock you at all. But it is a heavy precipitation event. Thunderstorms, by the way, in the Panhandle of Florida. Got to watch that. That could impact how much moisture gets thrown into Kentucky. So that will be something we'll watch. But still, even at this point, it still looks like two pieces of energy. One here and the surface low. And we'll see how well these two begin to phase into a more organized system. So it's not done yet. So don't react to the model run today thinking, oh, this is going to be rain, or oh, this is going to be heavy snow. The system is not done yet deciding how much of a phasing we're going to have here with a surface low taking over with that piece that dives in from Seattle. It's not there. And it will not likely be there until sometime late Friday or Saturday before it really gets a good handle. And it's only Wednesday. We've got another 2 days of stress of models before we really can say for at least a good idea of what is going to happen. But you see what happens when you develop a stronger surface low. You get more warmer air pumped in, and it continues to track off to the east after that. Here's the 850 temperatures aloft. Another way to look at rain snow line. Again, the light blue to green is the rain snow line aloft. Louisville right on the edge. Indiana certainly in the deeper cold air. Temperatures, the ground level, takes us to about 33, maybe 34 for high on Monday. So either this could be a heavy wet snow event, or this could be an all rain event, or we don't get above 32 and we do warm up aloft and it turns into freezing rain. And then we're dealing with an icing event. All three of those are possibilities right now on our table. And I know that's not reassuring for those of you trying to make plans for Monday for travel, but that's the reality of what the Euro is showing. When you look at the ridging or the amplified pattern here on the Euro, you see it. It is certainly more there than the GFS is showing. Therefore, you get a deeper trough that does begin to develop. Let me backtrack that. So that's where we stay today on the system, guys. It's the Euro. I still think is a better idea. I think this is going to line up to be a slower system and a deeper system. It's just a matter of when does that happen, how deep does the system become as far as phasing, and where are we in the warming part of things, at the surface and aloft. I cannot answer those questions. So right now when you watch the news tonight, we're more than likely going to say a wintry mix. My most hated term, thinking meteorology. I can't stand that term. But it is going to be the reality of what we probably are going to face as of now. Stay tuned. We'll keep an eye on it, guys. We'll see how it all looks tomorrow.